Hello my friends, wherever you are in the world. William Poloniak here at Whole Health Foundation. In this video I'm going to demonstrate how to properly package a Norwalk juicer for shipment. The first thing you need is a double wall box that you need to buy, or if you give me a phone call or an email, I'll tell you how to get one for free. So the first thing you're going to want to do is assemble your box. And when you do, make sure your BMC seal is on the bottom, just in case there's a UPS accident or a FedEx accident, whatever carrier you take. Tape the bottom. Now that's your first step. I'm going to set the box aside and I'm going to show you what you do next. You go to Home Depot and you get 1.5 inch thick or 2 inch thick styrofoam. They sell them in 2 foot by 4 foot pieces. They're about $4.50, 60 cents each. And the first thing you want to do with a marker is mark out 20 inch squares. And you can see I've already marked this. Okay, you can see the lines here. Let's turn this around. So you've got a 20 inch square here, and all this scrap you're going to use. You want to rotate it clockwise and make your markings again. Next step. With a carpenter's square, you want to cut with a utility knife on both sides. Flip it, do the same thing. Now, for expediency, I've already done all this cutting. So, I'm just going to demonstrate that when you cut both sides, it's easy to take apart. You're going to save all these scraps because you're going to need them. Now, one piece you're going to need to cut for the bottom. I use a template for that. So you want to trace the bottom of your juicer. You could sit your juicer on here centered. Let's set that aside. And then with your carpenter's square, you want to cut around your tracing. And you want to do the same thing on the other side. Now, again, I've already done this to save time in this video. So the very next step is you want to take this over to your sink. And just follow me to the sink. And with a serrated knife, see if you can find one that's serrated. Here we are. I'll tell you why you use the sink. You want to go in and saw lines that you cut through on both sides. And then you push your cutting out. Now, the reason you want to be at the sink, let me set this aside, is that all this styrofoam has some static electricity, and when you mix in water, it takes away the static electricity, and it's easier to clean up a little bit later. So I'm going to leave that for now. We'll bring this back to the boxing area. Your next step is to take one full sheet and put it in the bottom of the box. Then you take your cutout and you put that on top. Your juicer is going to sit in the cutout. Now, it's a good idea to turn it on its side and cut some handholds in it. And I'm going to measure 8 inches from the top center. We'll make a mark. And then 4 inches wide, so 2 inches on either side of that mark. Then we're going to take a straight edge. Now you can use an ordinary bottle cap to make round edges here. Here and here. Or a 50-cent piece if you have one. And mark it again. Then take a utility knife or a sharp kitchen knife and cut these handholds in. Go around carefully like I'm doing here. It's best to do this when the box is empty, but you can do it afterward if you forget. And go around each side first, curved side. Cut the curve like I'm doing here, very carefully. And then cut your straight part. And you do that on both sides. This is going to help the carrier, either UPS or FedEx or the post office, lift the box and transport more safely. And the main idea is to avoid accidents and make it easier for your carrier. I hope you found that helpful. All right, in this segment I'm going to show you the next step in packaging a juicer. The first thing you want to do is get a plastic bag that will fit around the juicer and set it on a tabletop. You can use the black trash bags. I have a clear one here. You will next lift your juicer up and place it in the bag. Before you work the bag around, there are a couple of very important things. One is that you should cover the end of the power cord with a plastic bag. And maybe put a piece of masking tape around it. Now, this next step is very, very important. Take a long piece of masking tape and tape down the press plate on both sides. Fold the end over so it's easy to pick up for the person you're sending it to. And you tape the front and the back down. Next, work the bag up over the legs of the juicer. You're going to want to bring the lever up straight. Work the bag up. Put the power cord in here. If you're going to include supplies like cloths, an apron, a manual, you're going to want to put that up in here. Work up your plastic bag. This is just in case your styrofoam explodes on you and you don't want to get any mess inside your juicer. Now, very important, do not tie a knot up here. Fold it over, take some masking tape, tape it down. Next, it goes in the box. Now, you'll see my cutout here. Let's lift it up, put it inside the cutout. This is to prevent, the cutout is to prevent the juicer from shipping. The next step is very important. You need a third piece of styrofoam, 1.5 inches thick or 2 inches thick again, that fits on the inside of the box, whatever size you choose. And what you're going to do is place it on top, and you're going to push down on the top to make an impression. reason for this, and the reason you don't cut this out earlier, is you're not always certain how centered that juicer is going to be in the box. So what you're going to do is you're going to mark the corners and then with your straight edge you're going to draw it and cut this out. The next step on the impression that you made, you're going to draw the top. The next step, of course, is with a sharp utility knife to make a few passes as deep as you can go, and you're going to cut out this top. Remember to take the line. So the last step, of course, on the top is to cut through. Take your cutout out, and as before, we're going to use water to get rid of the static electricity. And we'll clean that up a little later. Now let's go back to the shop with these parts. Now this next step is very important, fitting the top. What you want to do is make sure that you have the cutout positioned correctly, and then, this is very important, you take a piece of scrap cardboard, cut to the size of the juicer, and then you tape it to the styrofoam. This is to prevent the styrofoam from shifting down during transport. And then let's go once more here. And let's see, maybe one more reinforcement right here from the inside. Now, what you can do is put some material around here, which I'll show you how to do later, but for now, I just want to show you how the top fits. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put all these accessory parts in a box on the top. But first what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the box around the edges. And then I'm going to take a utility knife. I'm going to cut corners. And then I'm going to slice these for new flaps. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line up that line on the edge of the table and make a bend so that it's easier to bend these flaps when I'm done. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the parts wrapped so they don't get scratched in the box. Let's put the feed tube in there next. The feed pan. We'll wrap the cutter so nobody gets cut. Put that in the box, and the pusher. Next, the flaps go down. Alright, the final step in packaging, if you look down here, you'll notice I have surrounded the accessories box with bags of plastic peanuts. Please, never use loose plastic peanuts. The person you're sending the juicer to will be very grateful. You can use crushed newspaper, but you want to be surrounding this box with padding. And the last step, of course, is to close the juicer up, tape the box together, put the address label on, and ship it off. Alright, my friends, my box is almost ready for shipping, but before we ship, I want to cut some hand-hold holes to make it easier for the delivery person to deliver. Now, I'm going to tip this juicer on its side. What I do is I use a template, but if you don't have a template, what you need to do is measure 8 inches from the top center. Tip this back up. And what you've done is you've made it very easy for the carrier to lift and carry, and you'll be so glad you did. All of this is to prevent damage and to make it easier. So there you have it, my friends. I hope you like what you've seen. If you'd like to contact me, my phone number is 760-753-0321. My email address is developtrust@cox.net, and my webpage is www.wholehealthfound.com. I'll see you in the next video.